Hello, artist Charles Wolf here. Welcome back to part 2 of this painting video. This is part 2 of how to create this landscape, Afterglow. Today I want to show you how to create the tree line for this painting, as well as the reflections that are going to be in the water of the lake that we have here on the bottom part of this canvas. If you haven't seen part 1 already, you should head back and check that out. There we covered how to create those amazing sunset clouds that you see in front of you. Okay, I've started with a small bright brush, and I'm going to be using a mixture of Mars Black with a little bit of Cadmium Yellow Medium. I want a very dark silhouette for these trees. I'm going to be using sort of a oil painting technique, and that is to put the darks down first, and then after that I'm going to lay in my highlights over the top. So start with the darks so that the highlights really pop against them. Classic oil painting technique. I've jumped forward to the right here and created a larger section. I want the tree line to be coming closer to me, and I want it to seem like it's getting a lot bigger and closer. So the closer it is, the bigger the trees are going to look. Therefore they need to take up more space on my canvas. Very far away, you can barely see that there's single brush strokes. As they get closer to me, we need more strokes to make the perspective look correct. Good rule of thumb is that about halfway closer to you, the object needs to be about twice as big. Every time it gets halfway again to you, again twice as big, getting bigger and bigger. You can see that the nearest clump of trees on the far right are much larger than any of the other clumps, and they look closer because of it. I'm going to start filling this in, trying to define this bank line here with some zigzag strokes. Looking very good. I'm not being terribly careful with this, I'm just putting it in very quickly, laying in that shadow color. Going to add a touch more of the Cadmium Yellow Medium here. Whenever you mix the Mars Black with the Cadmium Yellow Medium, you will create an olive green color. I just want to have a slight cast of green to these trees. Because the sun is setting, and has already set in this picture, across the way, these are the clouds that are sort of opposite of where the sun was setting, the trees are going to be quite dark. I'm going to lighten them up a bit. Again, we have to start with the very dark section first, and then add the highlights to it. So it's not going to be this dark, but we need a good solid dark base for these trees before we can add in the highlight colors. Here's a bit more of the Mars Black with some Cadmium Yellow, and you can already see that this is a bit closer to that olive green color. Still dark for sure, but definitely within that family. Added a bit of cobalt blue there, and then back to my olive green mix. More black right now than yellow. Later on when we do the highlights, we'll reverse that. We'll do more yellow than black. Notice that I'm holding my brush at a sort of a horizontal angle, and I'm lifting up with the side of my brush. Nice technique for creating a good looking tree line. Keeping my brush work active, relaxed, and always moving. Try not to get caught up in any one section of the painting, but keep it active and flowing and moving. Don't worry about getting all the little details. We're not trying to create a very detailed painting here. We're just trying to get the impression of this work and of this scene that we're creating. Quick horizontal strokes, that's going to create that bank for me and give that effect of some rocks or earth protruding out into the water. Pure cadmium yellow here. Now this is way too bright, it doesn't seem to match the sky. I know that, and that's okay. We're going to blend this in later. I'm just trying to get the highlights in the right spots first, and then we can go back and blend it together, and that yellow is going to blend with that black that's already there, and it will become much more muted, forming that olive green that I mentioned earlier. Still putting in some highlights back here on the distant trees, creating some hill-like effects, utilizing some U-shaped strokes there. Again, not a lot of detail, just trying to suggest elements of this. I'm feeling like this is a fall piece, so we're going to make an orange mix of cadmium yellow plus some Naphthol Crimson and a very little touch of the titanium white. Touch of the Naphthol Crimson to this, just pure crimson there. I want to blend that together and make it a bit more red, kind of a reddish orange. And then back to the mix of the Mars Black plus the Cadmium Yellow. Here though, you can see that I have much more yellow than I have black. I'm going to make a quick mix of the brown, take that orange mix, that's the yellow plus the Naphthol Crimson, and add a bit of blue to it. Whenever you mix together a secondary color like orange, orange is created by two primaries, the orange of course is red and yellow, and you mix it with the primary color, blue, that was not used to create that secondary color, you're going to get brown. So blue plus orange will make brown, as well as purple plus yellow and red plus green. Okay, I added some pure cobalt blue for contrast, and now some bright reddish orange. That's the orange mix again, Naphthol Crimson plus yellow, and a little bit more of the crimson this time to make it more in the red family, a reddish orange. Back to the cadmium yellow with a smaller dab of Mars Black, mostly yellow. Quick little gestures, trying to create some more details here, putting in the highlights where I want them to be. Again, it doesn't have to be perfect. I'm just trying to get them in the right spots, and then I'll come in a minute and blend it all together, and you won't see all the individual strokes anymore. Some pure cadmium yellow here, mixing with that brown. I'm using upward strokes to suggest grass. Tapping here and there. Here I'm just trying to better define this bank. Blending it together a bit. Okay, back to my bright brush. Here's a Prism Violet and some Titanium White. That's going to make a nice soft lavender. And I want to bring this lavender that's in these clouds up a little bit more and blend it over that cobalt blue. Yeah, it's looking a lot better. A little bit more of the Prism Violet here with some white. As I said, I'm really going for a nice soft lavender. Be very careful as you're doing this. Make sure that you wipe your brush off before going back into the clouds, because you might be picking up some of that yellow and orange and you don't want that into your clouds. So if you tap it at all into the tree line, be sure to wipe it off before you go back to the clouds, or you'll have a mess on your hands. Gently blend this together now, tapping very lightly with a clean brush. I'm using my small bright brush to do this. Just tapping. You will notice that all of a sudden it starts to sing and it starts to look really, really good and really cool. Just enough light on there so that you can see it and that it's distinct and clear, but not so bright that it's going to detract from the clouds, which are really this focal point in the center of this piece. Those huge billowing clouds, sort of a storm front maybe rolling in, and the very, very last light of the sun hitting them. That's the main part of this piece, and that's the main focus. So we don't want these trees to be too vibrant or too detailed, because it would distract from the fairly vibrant and active clouds. Finishing up the last bit of blending here, just tapping straight down, smoothing this out a bit. Next we're going to move back to the brown mix and add some Naphthol Crimson to it. A little bit more of a reddish brown. Sort of simulating some leaves that have fallen perhaps. We're going to take some pure cadmium yellow and mix that right over the top and blend the two together. As always, keep your brush moving, work quickly, and don't fuss about the details. We're just trying to get the concept down. We can always go back at a later time and put in all the little details that we want. But for now, just try to work quickly. Taking some more of the cadmium yellow plus a little bit of the cobalt blue, I'm going to create a soft, darker green mix here and put that in. And take some of that orange mix with my dirty brush and define the outer edge of this bank a bit better. Lifting upwards with my brush strokes. Taking some cadmium yellow and some Mars black, Back to my olive green, I'm going to put in a few more highlights here over top of the darker portion I just created. That'll be the shadow, and now here are the highlights. A bit more cadmium yellow, pure cadmium yellow. Small little strokes moving on a diagonal here. Very relaxed with my wrist, allowing my wrist to bounce a little bit as I do that. The key to all of this is to keep yourself nice and relaxed when you're painting. Okay, taking my large bright brush, I'm going to grab some of that Prism Violet and some white. That's going to make that lavender again. Just going to start matching what's above in the sky as best I can. Now I'm not going to worry about all the little details. I'm going to look at broad areas of color and copy those down. So first area, starting at the very bottom above the trees, we have purple. The next big area is going to be that coral, followed by that creamy yellow. The sky is blue. That's it. We're going to think 4 major color blocks. Purple, the lavender, coral, the creamy yellow, maybe some of that bright white, and the light blue. That's going to be all the detail we're going to put into this foreground lake, because we don't want it distracting from the clouds at this point. If you wanted to, you could put a lot more detail in here, but this piece is more of an impression. I'm just trying to get the concept down and show you the basics. You can take all the time you'd like on your own and add in twigs and sticks and leaves. But right now we're just trying to get the basics and show you how this can be done very quickly. I think this whole painting took me about an hour and 20 minutes to hash out. Grabbing some cadmium yellow and the white, I'm going to make that creamy yellow mix I talked about a second ago and start trying to match what's above, more or less. Again, looking at it, what's above, you can see that the white comes down all the way to the left-hand side of the canvas, so I'm going to mirror that in the water. Whatever you do above, just reflect straight down below. Just mirror it right down. Whatever you do on top must be done on the bottom. Okay, here's some coral, white with cadmium yellow plus some Naphthol Crimson. Using my Filbert brush there. Just quick movement, mostly dragging it side to side along one axis. Do you see how fast I'm moving? This is real time. I've not sped this up at all. I'm just moving it very quickly, very rapidly, trying to get it down and blended. Make sure that it mirrors more or less how it looks above. We're going to stretch this out a little bit. We are going to mirror what is above, but we may change it a little bit for the perspective to look correct. Things are going to get a little bit scrunched close to the trees, and they're going to be spread out and kind of distorted and stretched as they get closer to you. That's just how it works when you look at the water that way. Keep that in mind, but don't stress about it too much. More or less, just try to copy the shapes above, and you should be just fine. Back to my lavender there. Bringing in some more of the lavender. Making adjustments until I am satisfied with how it looks. Again, we're not trying to stress about the details, just the impression of this landscape. Bit more of the purple, pretty dominant color of the sky above. Filling this in here. Quick side-to-side zigzags there. Sorry, I blocked the camera there. I'll move in just a second. There we go. Just kind of the same thing there. Blending in through that orange. Just trying to make it match the sky above. Back to my cadmium yellow and white, that creamy yellow mixture. Again, looking above, you can see it goes all the way from the right-hand side of the painting to the left-hand side. I've yet to bring in my blue, but right now I'm just trying to get this orange to look about right. Too much coral, and it will look a little strange, so we need to bring in some more of that creamy yellow and make more of a transition from the bright white to the creamy yellow coral mixture to the pure coral. I'm just trying to get that to look accurate. Still working quickly, relaxed and loose. Taking a moment here to blend some of this better together. Here, I am bringing in more of the lighter white, kind of having a halo glowing effect on the water. Taking some cobalt blue and the titanium white, I'm going to bring in this light sky blue here, pulling straight downward, quick little strokes, just like we did using that feathering technique in the sky. We're going to use that same technique here. If you don't know this technique, then be sure to watch the part 1 video on this painting, Afterglow. I really recommend it as it will show you exactly how to do the sky as well as this feathering technique that you're seeing demonstrated here. Softening up the edges, a little bit more of the blue. Trying to work fairly quickly, quick little strokes. Keep your brush moving, lifting upwards at all times. Again, mirroring the sky above, trying to make it match as much as possible, as quickly as possible. Extending out the blue portion here, mimicking that rounded edge above. Whatever you see above, just copy it right down below. Bit more white here to the blue, lighten it up a bit. It was a little dark, and you can see directly above where that purple layer is of clouds on the far left, you can see it's very light in the sky. So when we mirror that below, we need to also make sure that the blue is light enough. Looking good, moving very quickly here. We're just about done with this painting. The closer I get to finishing a painting, I tend to get more excited and work quicker. It is so rewarding to feel that you have accomplished something and to step back and look at what you've created. Anyone can learn how to paint. It's not that difficult. All you have to do is just be willing to take some time and get some paint supplies and to practice. It's like anything, just keep working at it. I find that the more I paint, the better I get. And the more practice I get at doing it, and the more painting videos I create to share with you all, the better the results I am getting. Again, it's like riding a bike. It's like learning how to play a musical instrument, learn a foreign language. The more time you spend on the activity, the better you will be at that activity. So painting is no exception. You want to be a very good artist, all you have to do is keep practicing and to do it as much as you possibly can. A little bit every day will really take you a long way in the end. I've learned a lot by watching other artists paint. Other painting videos here on YouTube and other sources. The more you can read about form, the more you can learn about color theory, about different kinds of brushes, to experiment yourself with these things, the better off you will be. Taking some more of that coral, cadmium yellow, white, with some Naphthol Crimson, just a dab of that white. We're going to bring in some more of the coral, very, very soft coral, lots of white added to it. Okay, using a very, very light touch, I'm going to take some more of the lavender, the Prism Violet, plus the titanium white, and create some streaks here in this coral and white mixture. You can see that I'm mimicking the streaks that are above with that Prism Violet, and I'm using a very similar technique, very little paint on my brush, almost a dry brush technique, and I'm going to very, very lightly place in some of these tendrils that you see in the sky above. A lot of this is about keeping your brush work light, pressing oh so delicately when you're doing this. I didn't quite get it right, so I'm going to take some of that white, go over top of it, blend it together, and try again. Paint is very forgiving that way. If you don't quite like it, you can always go back and make some adjustments to it, and it'll look fantastic when you're done. Taking some lighter blue here, more white this time, mixing it together. Small little strokes pulling downwards. And better define this front edge. That's looking a little bit more accurate. Continuing to pull downwards, add a bit more of the cobalt, and followed by a little bit more of the white. Lifting upwards. Then back in some pure white here. It's going to mix with some of that yellow that's already there and become a kind of a creamy yellow color again. Just trying to brighten this up, this top corner here. mimicking what's above. Just about done. Really trying not to get hung up on the details too much with this, getting a few more indications down, and we'll move on. Anyone can learn how to paint, doesn't matter how old you are or how young you are. Just pick up a brush and give it a try. It's a lot of fun and well worth the effort. I added a bit more of the prism there. You can see it's a little bit darker. Alright, nearing the end. Okay, just going to re-mirror the purple that was in the sky. I had some purple there. I covered it up with the blue. So now I need to go back in and add in that swath of purple. I'm going to go back and again try to find some of these tendrils that are going up into the big billowing clouds there in the center and to the right. Just a moment. I'm going to copy it on the left. And then back here to the middle, very lightly, very lightly. Yeah, it's looking a lot better than the first time I tried it. Blending this together with a clean brush a little bit. And lastly, we're going to take a cobalt blue, a little bit darker, and just fix the bottom edge of this canvas, and we're done. Alright, thanks so much for watching. Be sure to check out my art blog, impulsiveartistry.blogspot.com. You can buy my art on Etsy, etsy.com/shop/impulsiveartistry. And don't forget to like, share, and subscribe to this channel. Thanks so much for watching again. I'm artist Charles Wolf, and have a fantastic artistic day.